It appears to be one of those days. I've already had a fantastic part of this ride. Had a really good yarn carried on, you know how it goes. And then when I turned the camera off to finish it, the camera started recording. Anyway, let's do a quick recap, and I will try not to waffle on too much. Began the ride with 30% battery left. Had a good ride yesterday. Played on a lot of steep hills that I was never going to get up. And I also ended up hitting a couple of mud patches where the rear tyres spun like crazy and threw mud all the way up my back. So even with the mud guard, it's still threw it everywhere. Anyway, what I did mention was the battery charging. On the previous bike, I found if I turned the charger off as soon as the flashing green light went solid, then I would only have 97, maybe 98% charge. So I got into the habit of allowing it to have an extra half hour so that the charger would complete the cycle and then turn itself off. I've carried that over to this bike, and I just make sure it completes the cycle and the charger actually cools down, then I turn it off, remembering that these batteries do not get all the way down because of the 7 to 8% that is kept for the Di2 and for the sensors. The other thing I mentioned was that I'm right-handed, so I have a tendency to ride on the right-hand side of the track. And the main reason for that, because I noticed this in my own riding style, and I had to assess why. So I thought about it, and I finally understood once I had assessed my riding, my skills, etc. And what it is, I can throw the bike more aggressively to the left than I can to the right. I can throw the bike to the right, have control, etc. However, I can do it more aggressively with greater control to the left. So if I'm riding somewhere where there's a higher risk of snakes or anything like that that I may need to react to, then I tend to ride on the right-hand side if I have that choice. Clearly, where I ride is dictated more by the quality of the surface, whether it's sloping away, ruts, etc. So I pick whatever's safest, and then I tend to go right side of the track. And then the other thing is, I've watched a couple of the videos that I've made, and what stood out for me is the fact that I'm a passenger on this bike. I'll be chatting along quite merrily, and sometimes at a little bit higher speed. Of course, I tend not to speak too much at the really high speeds because of the wind noise. However, I'd noticed that I'd be chatting away quite merrily, or something would happen where I'd have to avoid something, or the wheels would dig and I'd have to correct. And I'd commentate as though I was watching it, which I was watching it because it all occurred through muscle memory. So as we ride, we get more experience, our muscles learn what to do and when. And then I started thinking about it, and yes, if we had to make every decision in regard to the movement of the handlebars, etc., etc., a 5-kilometre ride would exhaust us. So really, muscle memory is what it all comes down to. The more you ride, the more skilled your muscle memory will be. And talking of riding, let's play. Main road left to right. Getting a little bit of birdsong. One of my favourite facts about birdsong, and I believe it's called the dawn chorus, and I assume there would be a dusk chorus too, because we all realise birds tend to sing first thing and at dusk. So of course, as the earth rotates, that means birds around the world are singing, so there are waves of birdsong going around the world. It's quite pleasant. I want to ride fast, but I also want to enjoy. My little posturing up on the pedals just reminded me of another fun fact. Whenever I do that, I tend to have my left foot forward and my right foot on the rear pedal. Again, it comes down to balance. I have more balance when I'm in that position than if I have my right foot forward. Ooh, birdsong. Come on, go again. years ago on one of the nearby tracks. I was up here super early, and in one of the wheel ruts was a python still in its night position, and by that I mean it was basically, the snake was a sphere. I could not see where its head was or where its tail was. It was just a massive sphere, and you could see how it had the outside part of its body flattened, so if anything came up to try and bite it while it was asleep or resting, it had no curved surface to get a purchase on. It was absolutely stunning to see. I didn't walk around it looking for the head or tail because I didn't want to disturb it, but I must admit it was fantastic to actually see it there. And there was no way anything in the Australian bush would have been able to eat it, because it just could not have got purchase or got its mouth that wide open. And talking riding styles, I just had another thought pop up, which would be no surprise to you, and that is sometimes you'll find I weave the bike a bit when I'm riding. Again, I find I can react quicker if the bike's in a weave than if I'm riding a straight line, and then you actually have to go left or right. If you're already weaving, you've already got your momentum, you've already got your body weight working with you, and then it's easier just to change the weave a little bit. But I'm sure most of the riders out there would have already been aware of that themselves. Okay, muscle memory, here we go. Whoa. I didn't have to think about that, the muscles did it. Mud. Oh, just missed it. Now there's a little creek down here. Last time I came through it I had to carry the bike. We haven't had much rain since then, so it should be low enough to ride through. Oh, silk web. And I'm seeing reasonably fresh goanna tracks in the sand patches. I do like looking for animal tracks when I'm riding or even walking. There was a time when I was bushwalking and I saw this stunningly beautiful snake track, and I thought, wow. So I studied it, worked out which direction the snake was going in, did all of that. I was having a great time. And then I thought, gee, I wonder where it is. And as I stood up, I was right beside a lantana bush, and there was the snake at my eye level watching me. So it was a little whip snake, and even though most people won't die from the bite, some people do have reactions. So my lesson from that Now, when I see snakes tracks, I try to work out where they are before I get too engrossed in playing detective. Anyway, that should do. Oh, steady on, I was doing 30 kilometres an hour. Uphill. You may notice I'm not using higher power levels. Oh, you may notice the alarm just went. E-bike battery low. And apparently we riders are stupid because the alarm goes off twice. Cough, cough, hack. Whew. So we have 10% of the battery left. Whew. Oh. Let the old man breathe. 20 kilometres an hour. Oh. Still holding around 20, 22. Oh, a few rough spots wiped us down to about 18. Yeah, it's still telling me my heart rate's 95. Oh. Mind you, for an old fella, I'd get enough exercise. My resting heart rate is usually down around 48 to 52. Anyway, I turn up here and head out to the main road. That'll do. Catch you around.